Before we start, drop a comment telling us where you're watching from and what time is it. And if a living megalodon in the deep ocean gives you chills, hit that like button. Subscribe for more deep-sea military encounters. Let's dive in. October 2019. Mariana Trench, Pacific Ocean. That's where I learned that extinction isn't always permanent. That's where I learned some things survive in places we've never looked. That's where 9 of my teammates died because we encountered something that shouldn't exist, but very clearly does. I am Lieutenant Marcus Webb, age 32, Naval Special Warfare, 3rd Team. I am one of only 3 people who have ever encountered a living megalodon and survived. It's no easy feat, a true apex predator that dominated the world's oceans for 20 million years. 60 feet long, a prehistoric killing machine. A species believed to have gone extinct 3.6 million years ago. Except it didn't. It just went deeper, to places humans couldn't follow. Until now. Until we had the technology to reach the deepest parts of the ocean. Until we gave it a reason to hunt us. We were 12 personnel, 8 Navy SEALs, 4 submersible crew. Standard deep-sea recovery operation. Classified, need-to-know basis. The kind of mission that doesn't officially exist if it goes wrong. And it went very, very wrong. The briefing came on October 15th. USS Howard, Nimitz-class carrier operating in the Western Pacific. Commander Sarah Mitchell called the team together. 38 years old. 3 combat deployments. Best officer I ever served under. She'd survived this. So would Petty Officer David Santos and I. The other 9 wouldn't. "Gentlemen, ladies," Mitchell began, pulling up a map of the Pacific. 4 days ago, a Chinese surveillance drone malfunctioned and crashed into the Mariana Trench. Depth, approximately 35,000 feet. The drone contains classified technology we can't allow China to recover. Our mission is simple. Descend, retrieve, return. 35,000 feet, Chief Petty Officer Ryan Walsh said. 24 years in the Navy. Experienced, calm. He'd be dead in 3 days. That's deeper than Everest is tall. That's the Challenger Deep region. Are we sure the drone survived impact? Telemetry suggests it did. It's designed for extreme conditions. Salt water will corrode it eventually, but we have a narrow window. 72 hours before critical systems degrade. "What's submersible?" I asked. DSV-5, Deep Submergence Vehicle, Mark V. Designed by DARPA for extreme depth operations. Titanium hull, rated to 40,000 feet. It's the only vehicle in the Navy inventory that can reach the drone. Dr. Elena Rodriguez spoke up. 41, marine biologist, naval consultant. Brilliant. She'd be dead in 2 days. Commander, the Mariana Trench ecosystem is largely unexplored. Less than 0.1% has been mapped. We'll be operating in conditions no human has experienced at that specific location. There are risks beyond technical failure, such as unknown biology. The deep ocean supports life we don't understand. Pressure-adapted species. Gigantism is common at depth. Creatures grow larger than their shallow water equivalents. Squid, fish, possibly sharks. Sharks at 35,000 feet? Petty Officer Jake Morrison asked. 28. Good seal. Skeptical by nature. He'd be dead in 30 hours. Don't sharks need to keep moving? Need oxygen from water flowing over gills? How does that work under extreme pressure? We don't know, Rodriguez admitted. That's the problem. We assume sharks can't survive deep trenches, but we've been wrong before. The coelacanth was thought extinct for 65 million years. We found living specimens in 1938. The megamouth shark wasn't discovered until 1976. We know almost nothing about the deep ocean. It's more alien than the surface of Mars. Noted, Mitchell said. But our mission isn't scientific research, it's recovery. We go down, we get the drone, we come back up, fast and clean. Questions? Timeline? Santos asked. 29, solid operator. Best friend I had in the teams. He'd survive. One of only 3. Descent takes approximately 7 hours. At those depths, we can't drop fast. Pressure differentials would kill us. We descend slowly, controlled. Recovery should take 30 minutes. Ascent takes another 7 hours. 14-hour mission total. We launch tomorrow at 0600. We spent the next day preparing. Equipment checks. Pressure suit training. Emergency procedures. The DSV-5 was impressive. 40 feet long, titanium sphere pressure chamber. Robotic arms. Sonar, cameras. Life support for 48 hours. Designed to go where submarines couldn't. Built to survive the crushing pressure of the deepest ocean, but not built to survive what we'd encounter down there. We launched at dawn. 12 of us crammed into the pressure sphere. Tight. Uncomfortable. But necessary. The DSV-5 couldn't support multiple chambers. Everything had to be in one pressurized environment. Captain James Carter piloted. 45. 20 years operating deep submersibles. Best in the Navy. He'd die piloting, die trying to save us. Beginning descent. 7 hours to target depth. Recommend everyone get comfortable. The descent was surreal. The first 1,000 feet, sunlight penetrated. Blue water. Visibility. Beautiful. But then we entered the twilight zone. 1,000 to 3,000 feet. Light faded. Blue became gray. Gray became black. Passing 3,000 feet, Carter reported. Entering midnight zone. External lights on. The submersible's floodlights cut through absolute darkness, and we saw life. Bioluminescent jellyfish, glowing squid, anglerfish with their horrifying lures, creatures that looked alien, that had evolved in darkness and pressure for millions of years. It's beautiful, Rodriguez said, taking notes, recording everything, building data that would never be published because this mission didn't officially exist. We continued down, 6,000 feet, 10,000, 15,000. The pressure outside was incomprehensible, thousands of pounds per square inch, enough to crush steel, enough to compress our bodies to the size of a fist if the hull breached. Passing 20,000 feet, Carter announced, halfway to target. At 25,000 feet, the sonar started showing the trench walls. The Mariana Trench is a scar in the ocean floor, where the Pacific Plate subducts beneath the Mariana Plate, creating the deepest known point on Earth. Challenger deep, 36,000 feet at its maximum. Deeper than Mount Everest is tall. We were heading for a region just shy of that maximum, 35,000 feet, a place maybe 10 people in human history had ever visited, a place that belonged to things adapted to conditions we couldn't survive without technology. 30,000 feet, Carter said. Approaching target depth, beginning search pattern. The sonar was our eyes, sound waves bouncing off the trench floor, mapping the terrain, looking for the drone. And the floor was alien, flat in places, mountainous in others, dotted with hydrothermal vents spewing superheated water, supporting ecosystems based on chemosynthesis instead of photosynthesis. Life without sunlight. Life without surface world rules. Contact, engineer Marcus Chen reported. 36, Chinese American. Good at his job. He'd be dead in 30 hours. Metallic signature. bearing 270, range 400 meters, consistent with drone specifications. Moving to intercept, Carter said. The DSV-5 maneuvered slowly. At this depth, every movement had to be calculated. Pressure was immense. Water density was higher. Control surfaces responded differently. Carter was expert, brought us right to the drone. It was intact, sitting on the trench floor, partially buried in sediment. Chinese characters visible on the hull, definitely their surveillance platform, definitely containing technology worth recovering. Deploying robotic arm, Carter said. Retrieving now. The mechanical arm extended, gripped the drone, lifted it, placed it in the external cargo cage, secure, mission accomplished. Now we just had to get back to the surface. Retrieval successful, Mitchell reported via underwater comms to the surface ship. Beginning ascent. Copy that, DSV-5. Good work. See you topside in 7 hours. Carter adjusted ballast. The submersible began to rise, slowly. At this depth, ascending too fast would kill us. Decompression sickness, nitrogen bubbles in the blood, strokes, embolisms, death. We had to rise gradually, let our bodies adjust, let the pressure equalize. We'd been ascending for maybe 10 minutes when the sonar operator, technician Daniel Foster, said something that changed everything. Contact, biological, large. Define large, Mitchell said. Very large, range 500 meters, bearing 090, moving parallel to us. Could be a whale, Rodriguez suggested. Beaked whales dive to extreme depths. Cuvier's beaked whales have been recorded at nearly 10,000 feet. We're at 34,000 feet, Foster countered. No whale dives this deep. Then what is it? Unknown, but it's massive. Sonar return suggests length of, this can't be right. What's the reading? Mitchell demanded. 60 feet. Maybe more. Single organism. Moving at approximately 15 knots. Silence in the submersible. Everyone processing. 60 feet long. At 34,000 feet depth, moving fast. That didn't match any known species. Whales didn't get that big anymore. Giant squid reached 50 feet but didn't swim fast. They drifted. Whale sharks reached similar lengths but were surface feeders. Could be equipment error, Carter suggested. Sonar malfunction. Pressure affecting sensors. Running diagnostics, Foster said. Then, after a moment, sonar is functioning normally. Contact is real. It's closing. Range 300 meters, 250, 200. It's coming right at us. Evasive, Mitchell ordered. Get us away from that thing. Carter maneuvered. But the DSV-5 wasn't designed for speed. Maximum velocity was maybe 3 knots. Whatever was approaching was doing 15. We couldn't outrun it, couldn't evade, could only watch on sonar as it closed distance. 100 meters, Foster reported, voice shaking. 50 meters, 20. The impact threw everyone forward. The submersible shook, violently. Something massive had rammed us. Hit the starboard side with tremendous force. Alarms shrieked. Red lights flashed. Breach! Chen was screaming. Port viewport! Structural integrity compromised. I looked. The viewport, 6-inch thick sapphire crystal designed to withstand the pressure, had a crack. Spiderwebbing across the surface. Water seeping through. Not much. Drops. But at this depth, even a small breach was catastrophic. Seal it, Mitchell ordered. Emergency patch, now! Santos and Petty Officer Tom Anderson grabbed emergency sealant, liquid polymer designed to harden under pressure, started spraying the crack, hoping it would hold, hoping we weren't all about to die in a crush of water and pressure. And then we saw it. Through the viewport. in the submersible's floodlights, swimming past. Slow, deliberate, letting us see it. 60 feet long, maybe more, conical head, massive body tapering to a crescent tail, gray-blue coloration with darker dorsal surface, and the mouth. God, the mouth. Partially open, showing rows of teeth, each tooth 7 inches long, triangular, serrated, the size of a human hand. "What the fuck is that?" Walsh whispered. Rodriguez's face was white. That's a megalodon. That's Carcharodon megalodon. But that's impossible. They went extinct 3.6 million years ago. They can't still exist. It's right there, I interrupted. Extinct things don't ram submarines. The creature, the megalodon, circled, swimming around the DSV-5, studying us. Its eye was visible, black, reflecting light, intelligent. This wasn't mindless instinct. This was a thinking predator, assessing, learning, deciding if we were prey, deciding if we were worth the effort. "It's testing us," Rodriguez said. "Sharks test potential prey, bump them, assess threat level, determine if they're food." "Are we food?" Morrison asked. "To a megalodon? We're small, insignificant. It usually hunted whales, prehistoric whales 30 feet long. We're probably not worth eating. We're too small, too armored." "Then why is it still here?" "I don't know. Maybe curiosity, maybe territorial behavior, maybe..." The megalodon rammed us again. Harder this time. The submersible rolled. People screamed. Equipment flew. The viewport crack widened. More water seeping through. "We can't take another hit," Carter shouted. "Hull integrity is critical. One more impact and we breach completely. Ascend faster," Mitchell ordered. "Forget decompression protocol. We get away from this thing or we die here. If we ascend too fast, we die from the bends. If we stay, we die from a 60-foot shark. Move!" Carter increased ascent rate. The submersible rose faster. Dangerously fast, but maybe fast enough to escape. To get above the creature's hunting range. To survive. The megalodon followed. "Contact maintaining pace," Foster reported. "It's following us up. Range constant at 50 meters. "Why isn't it attacking?" Walsh demanded. "Because it's smart," Rodriguez said quietly. "Sharks are intelligent. Some species can problem solve, learn, remember. This one has survived for millions of years in the deep ocean. The megalodon had ruled the oceans for 20 million years. And in the deep trenches, away from human eyes, away from science's understanding, it had never stopped ruling. We just entered its territory, and it was about to teach us why nothing survives in the deep ocean without being absolutely lethal. 32,000 feet, still 6.5 hours from the surface, still miles of dark water between us and safety, and the megalodon was learning. "It's maintaining distance," Foster reported. 50 meters, swimming in a circular pattern around us, not attacking, just watching. "Sharks do this," Rodriguez said. She was taking notes. Even facing death, she was documenting. "It's called reconnaissance behavior. The shark circles prey, observes from multiple angles, learns movement patterns, identifies weak points." "How long does this last?" Mitchell asked. "Until the shark decides it understands the prey. Then it attacks, usually from below, usually one massive strike to disable. Then it feeds." "We're not prey," Walsh said. "We're metal. We're not food. It doesn't know that yet. It's learning. That's what makes it dangerous. A stupid predator would have attacked immediately, lost teeth on our hull, given up. But this one..." She pointed at the sonar display showing the Megalodon's patient circling. "This one is intelligent. It's taking its time, making sure." At 31,000 feet, the Megalodon changed behavior. Stopped circling, descended below us, disappeared from sonar. "Where'd it go?" Morrison demanded. "Foster, where's the contact?" "I've lost it. It's below our sonar cone, beneath the submersible. I can't. It's positioning," Rodriguez said, voice tight. "Sharks attack from below, from the blind spot. It's done learning. It's ready." "Carter!" Mitchell shouted. "Evasive, get us!" The impact came from beneath, massive. The Megalodon had dropped below, gained speed and rammed us from the blind angle. The submersible jolted upward. People screamed. Equipment crashed. The lights flickered. "Hull breach," Chen was screaming. "Lower equipment bay. Water inflow. We're flooding." "Seal that compartment," Mitchell ordered. "Emergency bulkhead. Seal it now." Petty Officer Jennifer Hayes and Anderson ran to the bulkhead controls. Started the emergency separation procedure. The lower equipment bay could be sealed off. Sacrificed to save the main pressure chamber. But it would take time. 30 seconds to fully close. 30 seconds we might not have. Water was pouring up through the floor. Not a leak. A torrent. The pressure at this depth was so immense that even a small hole became a jet cutter. High-pressure water that could slice through flesh, that would fill the chamber in minutes, that would crush us or drown us or both. "Bulkhead closing," Hayes reported. 20 seconds. The water was at ankle depth, rising fast. Cold. Salt water, and with it came the smell. Ocean smell, fish, brine, the smell of the deep, the smell of something ancient and alien. 10 seconds. The Megalodon hit us again. Starboard side. The submersible rolled. 30 degrees, 45, equipment sliding. People grabbing for handholds. The water sloshing. And through the viewport, the cracked, damaged viewport, I saw it again. Swimming past. Close enough to touch, if not for the sapphire crystal. Its eye looking at me, at us, with recognition, with understanding. This wasn't an animal, not really. This was something that had survived when all others of its kind died. That had adapted to the deep ocean for 3.6 million years. That had evolved intelligence we didn't understand. "Sealed," Hayes screamed. "Bulkhead sealed. Lower bay sacrificed." The compartment door slammed shut. Hydraulic locks engaged. The water stopped rising. The main chamber was secure. But we'd lost the lower equipment bay, lost spare oxygen tanks, lost emergency supplies, lost our margin for error. "Damage report," Mitchell ordered. Carter checked the systems. "Life support compromised. We've lost 30% capacity. Oxygen supply reduced. Carbon dioxide scrubbers damaged. With 12 people breathing, we have maybe 4 hours. Maybe less. We're 30,000 feet down," I said. 6 hours from surface. We don't have enough air. Then we ascend faster. Risk the bends. Some of us die from decompression sickness instead of all of us dying from suffocation. Or the shark, Walsh added. "Don't forget the 60-foot prehistoric shark that's actively trying to kill us." "Where is it?" Mitchell asked Foster. "Contact. Contact is, I've lost it again. It's below us. Same tactic. It's preparing another—" "Brace!" Carter shouted. The third impact was the worst. The Megalodon had learned, had figured out our weak point, hit the exact same location on the starboard hull, where it had already damaged us, where the metal was compromised. And this time, it didn't just ram, it bit. We heard it. The sound of 7-inch teeth grinding against titanium. The screech of metal tearing. The groan of the hull buckling. And then the alarms. Every alarm, every warning system screaming that we were dying. Full breach, full breach, lower loading hatch, water inflow critical. The lower loading hatch, where we'd loaded equipment before descent. The Megalodon had found it, had figured out it was weaker than the main hull, and was tearing through. Morrison and Chen were in the lower access corridor, trying to reach the emergency seal controls, but the water was coming in too fast, too violent. At 30,000 feet depth, the pressure differential was catastrophic. Water didn't pour, it exploded. It blasted through the breach like a fire hose, like a cannon, with enough force to strip flesh from bone. "Morrison! Chen, get out of there!" Mitchell was screaming into the intercom. "Abandon the lower level." "We can seal it," Morrison replied. "Just need 30 seconds to—" The water hit them. I couldn't see it, but I heard it. The screams. Brief. Cut off instantly. And then silence. And then the sound of water filling space where two men had just been, filling it completely, instantly, drowning them before they could even process what was happening. "Morrison! Chen, respond!" Nothing. Just water sounds. Just the sound of the ocean claiming what belonged to it. "They're gone," Carter said, quietly. "Lower level is flooded. They're gone. 10 of us now. Morrison and Chen dead. Killed by water pressure and a megalodon's intelligence. Killed because a prehistoric shark had learned architecture. Had learned our weak points. Had applied that knowledge lethally." "Can we seal the lower level?" Mitchell asked. "Already sealing automatically," Carter replied. "Emergency protocols. Lower level is isolated, but we've lost significant buoyancy. The flooded compartment is dragging us down. We're ascending at maybe 1 knot now. At this rate, we won't reach surface for 18 hours. We don't have 18 hours of air." "Then we drop weight," Santos said. "Emergency ballast release. Drop the cargo. Drop everything that's slowing us." "Including the drone?" Mitchell asked. "The entire reason we're down here?" "The drone doesn't matter if we're all dead." Mitchell was quiet, weighing options. The mission was to recover that drone. Classified Chinese technology, worth billions, worth the risk, but worth our lives? "Drop it," she decided. "Drop everything. Cargo, ballast, tools, anything not essential to life support. We're getting topside. That's the mission now." Carter initiated emergency ballast release. The external cargo cage opened. The Chinese drone tumbled out, falling back into the Mariana Trench, back to 30,000 feet. Mission failed, but 10 lives potentially saved. The submersible began ascending faster. 2 knots. 3. Better, not good enough. We still needed 5 hours to reach surface, but better. And the Megalodon attacked again. This time it didn't ram. It grabbed. Those massive jaws closing around the submersible's propulsion unit. The external thruster. The only thing giving us mobility. We felt the bite. Felt the submersible shake as teeth ground against metal and machinery. And then the thruster tore off. Just ripped away. 60 feet of shark using bite force measured in tons pulling our propulsion system off like it was tissue paper. The submersible spun, out of control, tumbling in the water. No steering, no maneuvering, just ascending. Slowly, while spinning randomly. People vomited. The motion was intense, disorienting, like being in a washing machine. Carter tried to compensate, tried to use secondary thrusters, but they were designed for fine control, not propulsion, not escape. We had maybe 20% maneuverability, not nearly enough. "It's playing with us," Rodriguez said, voice empty, defeated. "It's learned we can't hurt it, can't escape. Now it's playing, testing different attacks, learning what works, what causes panic, what causes damage. Why? Hayes demanded. If it's not going to eat us, why is it doing this? Territory. This is its territory. We're intruders. It's teaching us we don't belong here, that the deep ocean belongs to it, has always belonged to it. At 28,000 feet, the Megalodon did something that changed everything. It stopped attacking, stopped circling, just swam alongside us, matching our ascent speed, 50 meters away, parallel, like an escort. "What's it doing?" Walsh asked. I think Rodriguez was watching the sonar, watching the pattern. I think it's following us up, learning about the upper ocean. It's been down here for millions of years, adapted to the deep. Maybe it's never gone shallow, and now it's using us as a guide, as protection against the pressure changes. We're ascending slowly enough that it can follow safely. "It's using us?" Mitchell said. "It's smart enough to use us to explore?" Megalodons ruled the oceans for 20 million years. They were apex predators when early hominids were still in trees. This one has survived down here for 3.6 million years after its species supposedly went extinct. It's had millions of years to evolve, to adapt, to become more intelligent. We're not dealing with a normal shark. We're dealing with something that's had geological time to evolve intelligence we don't understand. Then, how do we escape it? Santos asked. I don't think we do. I think it decides when we're allowed to leave. If we're allowed to leave. The hours passed. 25,000 feet. 20,000. 15,000. The Megalodon followed. Patient. Learning. Sometimes it would swim close, inspect us through the viewport, look at us with that intelligent eye. Sometimes it would drop below, out of sight, testing if we'd react, testing our behavior, and we couldn't do anything, couldn't fight, couldn't flee, could only ascend slowly and hope it got bored. Hope it decided we weren't worth killing. Hope we reached the surface before our oxygen ran out or it changed its mind. At 15,000 feet, our oxygen situation became critical. 2 hours of air left, Carter reported. 4 hours to surface, we're not going to make it. Options? Mitchell demanded. We have emergency rebreathers, personal oxygen supplies, enough for 2 people to survive if the main system fails. Everyone else suffocates. Then we choose 2 people, Walsh said, voice flat. 2 people survive. 8 die. Who decides? Who lives? Nobody decides, Mitchell replied. We all live or we all die. We're SEALs. We don't leave people behind. We don't sacrifice team members. Then we all die together, Walsh said. Because the math doesn't work. We don't have enough air, and that thing outside isn't leaving. We're dead. All of us. And he was right. Even if the Megalodon left us alone, even if it decided we weren't worth killing, we'd suffocate at maybe 10,000 feet, still 2 miles from the surface, still far from safety. 10 people dying slowly in a metal sphere. Clawing at each other for the last oxygen, dying the way deep-sea explorers always feared dying. Trapped, helpless, knowing rescue was impossible. The Megalodon swam past the viewport, looking at us. And I swear I saw recognition in that eye. Understanding. It knew we were dying, knew oxygen was finite, knew it didn't have to kill us, just had to wait, just had to follow until we stopped moving, until the metal sphere became a coffin, until its curiosity was satisfied and it could return to the deep. We'd come to the Mariana Trench to recover technology. We'd encountered evolution. We'd found a creature that shouldn't exist, but did. that had adapted so perfectly to the deep ocean that it had survived when all others died. That had become intelligent enough to hunt humans with strategy, with patience, with understanding. And now it was teaching us the final lesson. The deep ocean doesn't belong to humans. Never did, never will. We're visitors in a realm that evolved without us, that survives without us, that will continue long after we're gone. The Megalodon had ruled these waters for 20 million years, and watching us die slowly, watching us understand our place in the food chain, was just another day in an existence measured in geological time. 10,000 feet. 3 hours to surface, 1 hour of oxygen. The math was unavoidable, inescapable. 8 of us were going to die. Maybe all 10 if we couldn't figure out how to buy time, how to survive what shouldn't be survivable. And outside the viewport, the Megalodon waited, patient, immortal, inevitable. 10,000 feet, 1 hour of oxygen, 3 hours to surface. The mathematics of death were simple and unavoidable. "We have to abandon ship," Carter said. "It's our only option." The DSV-5 has 3 emergency escape pods, mini submersibles. Each holds 4 people. Each has independent oxygen for 6 hours. If we split up, we can all survive to surface. "And the Megalodon?" Mitchell asked. "Maybe it only tracks the main submersible. Maybe if we split into 3 smaller targets, it gets confused, doesn't know which to follow. We improve our odds. Or it kills us 1 pod at a time," Rodriguez countered. 3 small targets are easier prey than 1 large one. "We're dead if we stay here," Walsh said. "At least in the pods we have a chance. Some of us might make it." Mitchell looked at each of us. 10 people, 3 pods, 4-4-2 distribution. Who went where? How did you choose? How did you decide who had the best chance of survival? "I'm going with 2, she decided. "Pod assignments. Pod 1, Mitchell, Webb, Santos. Pod 2, Walsh, Anderson, Foster, Rodriguez. Pod 3, Hayes, Kim, Carter, Chen." She stopped, remembered. "No, Chen's dead. Pod 3 is Hayes, Kim, Carter. 3 pods, 3 chances." We suited up. Emergency escape procedures. The pods were mounted externally. We'd have to exit the main pressure chamber, enter the pods through airlocks. During the transition, we'd be vulnerable, exposed. If the Megalodon attacked during transfer, we'd die in seconds. "Launch sequence," Carter explained. "Pods eject simultaneously. Ballast release gives us rapid ascent. We'll hit the surface in maybe 90 minutes if we emergency ascend. Fast enough to survive. Fast enough to maybe outrun the shark." "And the bends?" Hayes asked. "Decompression sickness. We're at 10,000 feet. Rapid ascent from this depth will cause nitrogen bubbles, strokes, embolisms. Better than suffocation. Better than getting eaten by a Megalodon. We treat the bends topside. We can't treat death." He was right. Decompression sickness could be survived. Treated, hyperbaric chambers, oxygen therapy. Painful, but survivable. What we faced here, in this dying submersible with a prehistoric predator stalking us, that wasn't survivable. We had to choose the risk we could manage. "Move out," Mitchell ordered. "Pod 1 with me. Everyone else, head to your assigned pods. Fast and quiet. We launch in 5 minutes." Santos and I followed Mitchell to Pod 1, a spherical pressure chamber maybe 8 feet in diameter, cramped. Barely enough room for 3 people and emergency equipment. But it had oxygen, had ballast controls, had a chance. We sealed ourselves in. Through the small viewport, I could see the other pods. Pod 2 loading. Pod 3 loading. Everyone moving efficiently. Professionally. SEALs doing what we were trained to do even in impossible situations, and through the main submersible's damaged viewport, I could see the Megalodon, circling, watching, knowing something was happening, knowing we were changing behavior. And sharks, intelligent sharks, noticed pattern changes, recognized when prey tried to escape. "All pods loaded," Carter's voice crackled over the underwater comms. "Launching in 3, 2, 1, launch!" The explosive bolts fired. The pods ejected from the main submersible. 3 directions, 3 trajectories, 3 targets instead of 1. For a moment, we were tumbling, disorienting. Then the pod stabilized. Gyroscopes engaged. We oriented vertically, and we began to ascend. Fast, much faster than the submersible. The emergency ballast release gave us positive buoyancy. We were rocketing upward. 9,000 feet, 8,000, 7,000, the depth gauge spinning, the pressure decreasing, rapid, dangerous, but necessary. "Pod 2. Status?" Mitchell called over comms. "Pod 2 operational," Walsh responded. 4 souls, ascending normally. "Pod 3. Pod 3 good," Carter replied. 3 souls, systems normal. We were going to make it. 3 pods ascending independently. The Megalodon couldn't track all of us, couldn't hunt 3 targets at once. Some of us, maybe all of us, would survive. And then Pod 2's comm went silent. "Walsh, Pod 2? Respond." Nothing. "Walsh, respond!" Through our viewport, through the murky water at 7,000 feet, I saw it. Pod 2 tumbling, spinning out of control, and wrapped around it, biting it, was the Megalodon. Those massive jaws closed around the spherical pressure chamber, crushing. The titanium hull, designed to withstand pressure, crumpling like aluminum foil under 60 tons of bite force. "Oh, God," Santos whispered. "Oh, God, it got them." The pod imploded. At 7,000 feet, with the hull compromised, the pressure differential was catastrophic. The pod collapsed in on itself. Compressed, crushed, and the 4 people inside, Walsh, Anderson, Foster, Rodriguez, didn't have time to scream, didn't have time to understand. 1 second, they were alive. The next, they were compressed to the size of a suitcase. Bodies crushed by water pressure so immense it defied comprehension. The Megalodon released the debris, let it sink, and turned toward the remaining pods. "Ascend!" Mitchell was screaming into comms. "Pods 1 and 3, maximum ascent. Go, go, go!" We purged ballast, released everything. The pod shot upward, 6,000 feet, 5,000. We were ascending at maybe 500 feet per minute. Fast, too fast, I could feel it. The nitrogen in my blood starting to bubble. The bends, decompression sickness, pain in my joints, my chest, my head, but better than being crushed by a Megalodon. "Pod 3 status?" Mitchell called. "We're ascending," Carter responded. 5,000 feet. We're going to make it. The comm cut out. Static. And then Carter's voice again. Strained. "Contact. Megalodon, contact. It's ramming us. Hull integrity." Another impact. We heard it through the water. The sound of metal crumpling. The sound of a prehistoric predator destroying modern technology. "Pod 3 compromised." Hayes' voice now, high-pitched, terrified. "Hull breach. Water inflow. Seal the breach," Carter screamed. "Emergency patch. I'm losing control." Through our viewport, I could see them. Pod 3 spinning, the Megalodon circling it, ramming it, playing with it, learning. And then it did something that proved how intelligent it really was. It didn't bite, didn't crush. Instead, it grabbed the pod gently, almost delicately, with just the front teeth, and it held Pod 3, stopped its ascent, kept it at 4,000 feet, preventing escape, keeping them in the danger zone. It's not trying to kill them quickly, Mitchell realized. It's experimenting, learning how the pods work, testing different methods, using them as research subjects. We have to help them, I said. We can't. If we go back, it kills us too. Our only chance is reaching the surface, getting help, Navy rescue, helicopters, something. They don't have time. The Megalodon is... The shark ripped a section of Pod 3's hull away, just tore it off, creating a breach. Not large enough for catastrophic implosion, but large enough for water, for flooding, for slow death. "Rodriguez is gone!" Hayes screamed. "The breach! She was next to the breach. The water pressure, oh God, it pulled her through. It pulled her through a hole the size of a dinner plate. She's..." Rodriguez had been in Pod 2, had died when it imploded. But in the chaos, in the confusion, Hayes thought, no. Wait, that wasn't right. Rodriguez was in Pod 2. Hayes was in Pod 3 with Carter and Kim. "Hayes, respond," Mitchell called. "Who's with you? What's your status?" "Carter's trying to seal the breach. Kim's on emergency oxygen. The pod is flooding. We have maybe 2 minutes before..." The Megalodon hit the pod again. Harder, deliberate. And this time the impact was precise, calculated. The shark had learned pod architecture, had figured out the weak points, and it struck the exact location where the airlock connection was, where the hull was thinnest. The airlock tore open. At 4,000 feet, with an airlock-sized breach, Pod 3 didn't implode. It flooded. Water blasted in. And Hayes, Senior Chief Petty Officer Jennifer Hayes, 12 years in the Navy, 3 deployments, best combat medic in the teams, was caught in the inflow. The water grabbed her, pulled her towards the breach. She screamed. Carter grabbed her, tried to hold on, but the pressure was too much, the water too violent. Hayes was pulled through the airlock, into the open ocean, into 4,000 feet of water, and the Megalodon was waiting. It grabbed her, not with its mouth, with its jaws closed around her torso, gentle, almost careful. And it dove, taking her deeper, taking her away from the pods, away from escape, away from any chance of survival. "Hayes!" Carter was screaming. "No! No! Get back here! Hayes!" But she was gone, taken by a 60-foot shark into the deep Pacific, alive when it took her. The Megalodon hadn't bitten down, hadn't killed, just carried her away. To where, we didn't know. To do what, we couldn't imagine, and that was somehow worse than death, the uncertainty. The terror of being carried alive by a prehistoric predator to unknown depths for unknown purposes. "Pod 3, abandon," Mitchell ordered. "Carter, Kim, emergency egress. Get to the surface however you can." "The pod is flooding," Carter replied. "We've sealed emergency oxygen masks. We're ascending. The controls are gone. We're ascending too fast. We can't control it." "Slow your ascent. You'll get the bends. You'll die from decompression." "Better than drowning. Better than the shark." Pod 3 shot upward, out of control, ascending at maybe 1,000 feet per minute, catastrophically fast. From 4,000 feet, that kind of ascent was fatal. The nitrogen in their blood would bubble, would cause embolisms, strokes, paralysis, death. But it was their only choice: die slowly from decompression or die immediately from drowning. We watched them rise, our pod ascending at a controlled rate, theirs shooting upward like a bullet, and the Megalodon, finished with Hayes, turned its attention back to them. It chased, 60 feet of muscle and ancient evolution accelerating upward. Chasing Pod 3. The pod was fast, maybe 15 knots in emergency ascent, but the Megalodon was faster, 20 knots. 25, closing distance, 3,000 feet, 2,000, 1,000. Pod 3 was going to make it, going to reach the surface, the Megalodon caught them at 500 feet. It didn't ram, didn't bite the pod. Instead, it grabbed it, those massive jaws closing around the entire sphere. And it shook, like a dog shaking a toy. Violent, rapid. The G-forces inside must have been immense. Carter and Kim thrown against the walls, against each other, bones breaking, consciousness lost. And then the Megalodon dove, taking the pod and the two men inside, back down, away from the surface, away from safety, back to the deep where it was comfortable, where it was dominant, where it ruled. Pod 3, Mitchell called. Carter, Kim, respond. Nothing. Just silence. Just the knowledge that two more of our team were gone. Taken by something that shouldn't exist. Killed by a creature from the Cretaceous that had survived every extinction event. That had adapted so perfectly to deep ocean existence that it had become immortal. Unstoppable. Inevitable. We continued ascending. Alone now. Pod 1. 3 people out of 12. Mitchell, Santos, and me. The only survivors. The only ones the Megalodon had decided to let live. Why us? Santos asked quietly. Why didn't it take our pod? I don't know, Mitchell replied. Maybe random. Maybe it decided 3 targets were enough. Maybe it's letting us go deliberately, I said. Letting us escape so we can tell people. So we can warn them. This is its territory. It's been here for millions of years. And it's sending a message. Stay out of the deep. Don't come back. This ocean belongs to us. We reached the surface at 1500 hours, 30 minutes after launching from the dying submersible. 9 people dead. Walsh, Anderson, Foster, Rodriguez, Morrison, Chen, Hayes, Carter, Kim, all killed by a living Megalodon. All killed by something science said was extinct. All killed because we went where humans didn't belong. The Navy recovery ship picked us up, USS Howard. Same ship we'd launched from. But we weren't the same people. We'd seen what lived in the deep. We'd encountered evolution in its purest form. We'd learned that extinction isn't always final. Sometimes things survive. Sometimes they adapt. Sometimes they become apex predators so perfect that geological time itself can't kill them. And somewhere below us, in the darkest, deepest parts of the Mariana Trench, a 60-foot Megalodon returned to hunting. Returned to ruling an ocean realm humans would never understand, would never control, would never survive without technology that could be destroyed by 7-inch teeth and evolutionary intelligence. We'd recovered the Chinese drone, then lost it. Mission failed, 9 teammates dead, but we'd discovered something far more important, far more terrifying. We'd discovered that the deep ocean still held creatures from Earth's prehistoric past, that some things never went extinct, just went deeper. Just went to places we couldn't follow until now, until we had the technology to intrude, to trespass, to die. The Megalodon had ruled the oceans for 20 million years. In the deep trenches, it still did, and it had just taught 12 humans, killed 9 of them, that some territories don't belong to us. Never did. Never will. The deep ocean is alien. More alien than space. More dangerous than any battlefield. And it belongs to things that evolved before humans existed. Things that will survive long after we're gone. Things like the Megalodon. Perfect. Ancient. Immortal. We'd been warned. We'd been shown. 3 of us had been allowed to survive to spread the message. And as the USS Howard steamed away from the Mariana Trench, As I looked back at the dark Pacific water, I knew the truth. The Megalodon was still down there, still hunting, still ruling, and it always would be. They pulled us out of Pod 1 at 1600 hours. 3 traumatized survivors, 9 dead teammates, a story about a living Megalodon, a story the Navy didn't want to hear. Equipment malfunction, the recovery commander said. Not a question, a statement, telling us what our story would be. That's not what happened, Mitchell insisted. We encountered a living Megalodon, 60 feet long, at 34,000 feet depth. It stalked us, hunted us, killed 9 of our team. It's still down there. It's... Commander Mitchell, he interrupted. You've been through severe trauma, lost teammates, experienced extreme pressure, oxygen deprivation. The mind creates explanations for terrible events. What you encountered was equipment failure, submersible malfunction. Tragic, but explicable. We have footage, Santos said. The DSV-5 has external cameras. They recorded everything. The Megalodon ramming us, circling, the attacks, everything is documented. The footage will be reviewed by qualified personnel, marine biologists, Navy engineers. They'll determine what actually happened. Until then, your official statement is equipment malfunction. Clear? You're covering it up, I realized. You know what's down there. You've always known. And you're burying it. The commander was quiet for a long moment. Then, follow me, all 3 of you. Classified briefing. Need to know only. He led us to a secure compartment. Sealed, soundproof. Electronic countermeasures against surveillance. The kind of room where secrets were kept, where truth was classified, where reality was buried under national security. Inside, a captain was waiting. 50s. Naval Intelligence, hard eyes. Commander Mitchell, Lieutenant Webb, Petty Officer Santos. Have a seat. We sat. He pulled up a screen and showed us the footage. External cameras from the DSV-5. High definition. Capturing everything. The descent, the drone recovery, and then the Megalodon. 60 feet of prehistoric perfection. Swimming past the submersible. Close enough to touch. Its eye visible, intelligent, aware, and its body, gray-blue coloration, conical head, massive jaws, crescent tail, exactly matching fossil records. Exactly matching scientific reconstructions of Carcharodon megalodon, the apex predator that ruled oceans for 20 million years. My God, Santos whispered. It's real. The footage proves it's real. The footage proves something anomalous exists at extreme depth, the captain corrected. Whether it's specifically a megalodon or some related species is unclear. What is clear is that it's dangerous, territorial, and intelligent. You're going to classify this, Mitchell said. Already classified. Top secret. Need to know only. This footage doesn't leave this room, doesn't get shared with the scientific community, doesn't get published. It's buried. Why? I demanded. This is the discovery of the century. Proof that Megalodon survived. Marine biologists need to know. The world needs to not panic, the captain interrupted. The world needs to not avoid ocean travel because they think prehistoric sharks are hunting them. The world needs to continue functioning, and that requires keeping certain truths classified. 9 people died, Mitchell said quietly. 9 of my teammates. They deserve to be remembered for dying discovering something incredible, not for dying in an equipment malfunction. They'll be remembered as heroes, killed during classified deep-sea operations, full honors. Their families will know they died serving their country. That's enough. Is it? Santos challenged. Is lying to their families enough? The captain pulled up more footage. Different source. This is from DARPA Deep Sea Monitoring Program. Automated cameras placed throughout the Pacific Ocean at various depths. They've been recording for 15 years, collecting data on deep ocean ecosystems, and they've captured anomalies. He played footage, different locations, different depths, but similar creatures, large, shark-like, 60 feet or more, swimming in the darkness, hunting, existing where science said they couldn't exist. How many? Mitchell asked. Unknown. The footage is scattered, different locations. Mariana Trench, Philippine Trench, Tonga Trench, the deepest parts of the Pacific. We've identified at least a dozen individuals over 15 years, maybe more, maybe a breeding population. Megalodons didn't go extinct, I said. They adapted, went deeper, survived in the trenches where we couldn't reach them. That's the working theory, the captain agreed. Deep ocean pressure, limited food sources, but enough to support a small population, maybe a few dozen individuals spread across the Pacific's deepest trenches. Living, breeding, surviving. And you've known this for 15 years, Mitchell said. You've had evidence and you've buried it. We've had unconfirmed sightings, unclear footage, nothing definitive. Until now, until your mission, your encounter, your high-definition footage of direct interaction. This is the first confirmed evidence, and it changes everything. Changes how? Santos asked. Changes whether we continue deep-sea operations, whether we allow commercial exploitation of deep ocean resources, whether we send submersibles to depths where these creatures hunt. We need to assess, analyze, determine risk levels. He pulled up another file, this one marked with red classification headers. After reviewing your footage, I consulted with Dr. Patricia Nguyen, marine biologist, MIT, world's foremost expert on prehistoric sharks. Showed her the footage. Off the record, no names, no locations, just the creature, her analysis. He played audio, a woman's voice, educated, precise, but shaking slightly. This is Carcharodon megalodon. No question. The morphology is exact. Conical snout, crescent tail, serrated teeth visible in the footage match fossilized megalodon teeth perfectly. This isn't a relative. This isn't a similar species. This is the apex predator of the Miocene epoch, alive, at depth, in the 21st century. A pause, then, the implications are staggering. If Megalodon survived in deep ocean trenches, what else survived? What other extinct species adapted to extreme depth instead of dying out? The deep ocean is effectively alien, 95% unexplored. We know more about the surface of Mars than we do about our own ocean floors. If Megalodon exists down there, dozens of supposedly extinct species could exist. The deep ocean might be a reservoir, a museum, a place where extinction didn't happen, where ancient life persists. Another pause, longer. This footage also demonstrates intelligence. The creature studied the submersible, learned its weak points, attacked strategically. That's not instinct, that's problem-solving, that's cognition. Megalodons were already intelligent, all large sharks are, but this one has had millions of years to evolve in isolation, in an environment that rewards intelligence. It's not just a living fossil, it's an evolved apex predator with capabilities we don't understand. The audio ended. The captain looked at us. Dr. Nguyen's assessment is classified. She's been asked to forget she saw the footage, to never discuss it, to pretend this conversation didn't happen, just like you three will be asked to do. And if we refuse? Mitchell asked. If we go public? Tell people what's down there? then you're prosecuted for revealing classified information, court-martialed, imprisoned, and your story is dismissed as a conspiracy theory, debunked, ridiculed. You lose everything and accomplish nothing. The footage remains classified. The truth stays buried. You just ruin your own lives. He was right. We couldn't fight this. Couldn't expose it. The Navy controlled the footage, controlled the narrative, controlled what people believed. 3 SEALs claiming Megalodon existed would be laughed at, dismissed, forgotten. What about future missions? Santos asked. What about people who don't know, who go into deep trenches thinking they're safe? All deep-sea operations in the Pacific are suspended pending review. The Mariana Trench is effectively closed. Philippine Trench, Tonga Trench, any location where DARPA cameras have captured anomalous large predators. We're conducting risk assessment, determining if human operations at extreme depth can continue safely. They can't, Mitchell said flatly. We had military-grade submersible, experienced crew, best equipment available, and 9 people died. Whatever's down there, the Megalodon and who knows what else, they're perfect for that environment. We're not. We'll never be. The deep ocean belongs to them. That's one possible conclusion, the captain acknowledged. And it's being considered. But there's also the other possibility, that we develop better technology, better defenses, better understanding, that we learn to operate safely at depth despite the presence of large predators. Or we leave them alone, I said. Respect that some parts of Earth aren't for humans, that some territories belong to creatures that evolved there, that we don't need to conquer everything. The captain smiled, thin, humorless. That's not how humanity works, Lieutenant. We're explorers, conquerors, expansionists. We went to the moon. We're planning Mars. We'll master the deep ocean, too. Eventually. It's just a question of time and technology. And how many more people die while we learn? Mitchell demanded. How many more teams get sent into trenches, get killed by megalodons, by whatever else is down there? As few as possible. That's why your footage is valuable. It teaches us, shows us what we're dealing with. Your teammates didn't die for nothing. They died gathering intelligence, data, information that will save future lives. Except future missions were suspended. Except the trenches were closed. Except the truth was buried. 9 people had died discovering that Megalodon survived. And the only result was classification, secrecy, cover-up. We were debriefed separately over the next 3 days. Same questions, different interrogators, testing for consistency, looking for lies, ensuring we'd tell the official story, equipment malfunction, tragic accident, nothing anomalous, nothing impossible, and we agreed. We told the lie, because telling the truth would accomplish nothing, would just ruin our careers, would just get us labeled crazy. The footage was classified. The captain made that clear. Without evidence, without proof, we were just 3 traumatized sailors telling impossible stories. But I knew the truth. Santos knew. Mitchell knew. And somewhere in the classified depths of naval intelligence, marine biologists and DARPA scientists and government officials knew. Megalodon survived, adapted to the deep trenches, still hunted, still ruled, still killed, and maybe they were right to keep it classified. Maybe people didn't need to know, didn't need to fear the ocean, didn't need to understand that the deep sea held creatures from prehistory, that extinction wasn't always final, that some things survived geological time by going where humans couldn't follow. Or maybe people deserved the truth, deserved to know what lived in 95% of the ocean we'd never explored, deserved to understand that Earth still held mysteries, still held dangers, still held apex predators that made humans look like prey. I don't know which is right. I just know what I saw, what I survived, what killed 9 of my teammates. The Megalodon is real. Lives in the Mariana Trench. Maybe in other trenches too. A population of prehistoric sharks that survived extinction by adapting to extreme depth, by becoming perfect for an environment humans can barely visit, by evolving intelligence and patience and hunting strategies that turn our best technology into death traps. And it's still down there, still hunting, still ruling the deepest parts of the ocean, still waiting for the next submersible, the next crew, the next group of humans stupid enough to think we can survive where gods of the deep make the rules. 95% of the ocean is unexplored, unmapped, unknown, and in that darkness, in that pressure, in that alien environment, things survive that shouldn't exist. Things like the Megalodon. Things that ruled Earth millions of years before humans existed. Things that will rule long after we're gone. The deep ocean doesn't belong to us. Never did. Never will. And the sooner we accept that, the sooner we respect that, the fewer people will die learning what we learned. The Megalodon is real. The Megalodon is intelligent. The Megalodon is waiting. And unless you have a military-grade submersible and a death wish, I recommend staying the hell out of the Mariana Trench. Because 9 of my teammates didn't. And they're still down there. Their bodies somewhere in the deep Pacific. Claimed by an ocean that doesn't give back what it takes. Killed by a creature that evolution perfected over 20 million years. Killed, proving that extinction is sometimes just migration to places we can't see. The Megalodon survived. And God help anyone who goes looking for proof